What's up, everybody? It's Scotty here again with Flat Track Flashback, and today we're going to do a little preview of the upcoming short tracks out there in California and talk a little bit about the delay that took place with getting Silver Dollar up and running. Obviously, that's the hot topic of the past weekend, or one of them, in the postponing of the May 4th race at Silver Dollar Speedway to May 18th. That call taking place late in the week, with the forecast looking very unfavorable, and a few pictures that we saw over the weekend. The track definitely took on a lot of water. No chance they were going to be able to race on Saturday. And the way those photos made it look, the facility probably wasn't going to be ready for a Sunday race either. I don't know if the track would have looked, it was looking into potentially like a midweek deal. Obviously, there's complications there with trying to get fans out to the track, and if there's anybody who was going to travel in, that's going to severely limit that as well. It's a lose-lose situation all around. You've got the riders who, many of which were already out in California, so now they're having to spend a lot of money to be out there for an extra week on the road that was not initially budgeted. Not a lot of big money racing that they can just hop on and take advantage of. There was a race at Lodi that paid a little bit to help some of those riders out. So we had a pretty good contingent out there at that race on May 3rd. But yeah, it's a tough situation. I don't love the May 18th rescheduling because we mentioned Lodi. They have a big 3-day event that weekend as well, which is going to pull away a lot of your potential fans for Silver Dollar. There's going to be a lot of California flat track community that is probably going to be competing in or attending that event at Lodi. And that's going to pull fans away from the national there at Silver Dollar. So I don't know that it's the best move for the promoters to have it on the 18th. I kind of get like, okay, well, people are in California already. Might as well just extend it. So I can sort of see that. And it's an opening on Silver Dollar's calendar. But I just don't know that that's the best date for it. Because again, so much of your I feel like flat track community from California is not going to be able to attend that event due to scheduling conflicts. And I don't know how the inner workings of the conversation or what will happen to land on May 18th as the postponing date. I was looking ahead at Silver Dollar's schedule, and it looks like there would have been a potential option on August 17th, which is the Saturday before their big Crown Jewel sprint car race. August 17th, also the weekend after Sturgis. So even though it would be another haul out to California, you're already pretty far west as it is. It's still a long drive there too, but maybe that August 17th date is just too tight up against when the Silver Dollar Speedway starting their Gold Cup Race of Champions sprint car show, which runs from the 21st to the 24th. That obviously a very big deal in the sprint car world, and maybe they just need the extra time to get the track ready for that. Yeah, it's very unfortunate. It's one of those things where somebody's gonna get kind of screwed over in this, and in this particular instance, it's the riders and teams, and it feels like that's unfortunately becoming sort of the optics of a lot of things that are happening around the sport. I would love to see, so with sprint car racing and high limit racing, and they have kind of a tie in here too, because Brass Week, Kyle Larson, obviously starting the high limit sprint car series, promote at Silver Dollar Raceway, and Brad and Kyle do this thing on Flow Racing called the High Limit Room, and it's a show where they kind of talk about the race weekends, and they'll highlight some hot button issues or controversial topics that may have happened at their events. And I would really love to see something like that on Flow with AFT, and whether that's hosted by Scotty Taylor and Ralph Shaheen, or you bring in a series official or somebody or a top rider to be part of that as well. You know, maybe Scotty and Brian Smith could talk about stuff. I don't know if anybody wants to do that. But just to kind of sort of peel back the curtain a little bit, provide a little more insight into how the decisions are made from the series standpoint. Talk about it and debate it. It doesn't necessarily need to be this, clashing back and forth on there, but I mean, it'd probably get clicks. I don't know, just something that's kind of crossed my mind, and I think would be sort of a neat addition for the sport if something like that could take place. But yeah, super unfortunate to see Silver Dollar get postponed, but at least it wasn't, at least it wasn't outright canceled. Although I think there's some who probably feel like that might have been the best route to go, to save teams a lot of money for having to stay out west for an extended period of time before the long break until we hit the half miles and the mile in the summer. But nonetheless, we have 2 short tracks coming up, and it's going to start off in Ventura with the Memphis Shade sponsored event there on the beach. Back to Ventura for a second year in a row. Super exciting event in the singles class last year. Twins race sort of got a little boring there at the end. But we're going to dive into it and see who see how some of the favorites on the series stack up as we head to the short tracks in California. Talking about the Twins class on short tracks, first name that comes to mind. Currently second in points, Dallas Daniels. He's the defending winner out at Ventura. Took home the victory there last year. And Dallas has had a lot of success on short tracks. Probably the most success thus far is even in his rookie year, he was able to pick up a runner-up spot on a short track. And then in 2023, three wins and a second place finish, and then a win and 2 other podiums this year. And I'm using the short track to how AFT has described events. So we can debate if Cedar Lake, Weedsport, Sonoy, I know a lot of us don't consider those short tracks, and I don't either personally, but the way the event's advertised, it's called a short track, so that's where some of these stats are coming from. So maybe they're a little inflated, but I'm just going based on what the event was called. But nonetheless, Dallas Daniels, defending winner at Ventura, and a lot of success on short tracks in his Super Twins career. So I'd say he's got to be probably the favorite to pick a win up out there. But Dallas, as we said, sits second in points behind this man, Brandon Robinson, who 17th at Ventura last year. He's going to want redemption for that. And Brandon is off to a super hot start on the season this year. He's already picked up 2 wins, and I definitely didn't have Brandon being the rider to pick up 2 wins first on the season. I would have thought probably Mees or Daniels would have gotten that crown, but Brandon is having a great ride this year. Very impressive. And coming off that win in Texas where he weathered the storm, no pun intended, with all the factors that were going on down there, but he was able to fight back from a not so great start, gets past Jared Mees on a half mile at Texas Motor Speedway, nonetheless, a track that Jared's had so much success at, and then held off Jared even while fighting issues with his brakes. So incredibly impressive ride for Brandon to carry that momentum into this West Coast swing, and Brandon should be really strong at these tracks. Brandon runs that twin so well on a short track, and he's got 4 podiums already this year. Every single round he's been on the box, third first on the season. So does that set him up for a podium at Ventura and a win at Silver Dollar? We'll have to see. Brandon's got 6 career short track victories, and he'll be looking to add to that total when the series heads out, they're already out there, but when that green light turns on there in Ventura, again, looking for redemption from 17th place finish there last year. And Jared Mees, the rider he held off, I guess I kind of underestimate Jared when I use the term short tracks. Jared's obviously won on short tracks. He's picked up the win at Sonoy the last couple years. These tighter tracks, though, don't seem to favor him as much on that Indian. But Jared last year was 3rd at Ventura. So this particular weekend and next weekend in Silver Dollar, you look at it, is Jared going to be able to do kind of what Brandon was able to do at Texas? Could Jared pull off, a mild upset, take one of these wins, and then pull momentum into his corner as they head into the summer months on tracks that are going to favor sort of his style a little bit more? If Jared can steal a win out in California, that's going to be a little detrimental, I think, to some of the other competitors, because I feel like when a lot of guys are looking at the schedule and this first part of it, they're looking at it as an opportunity to really handicap Jared in the points, make him have to have that uphill climb to get back into the lead. But Jared's going to be fiercely competitive, and if he qualifies well, gets on front rows, and can get a good start, Jared can definitely click off solid laps and maybe steal a win out there. I would say that Silver Dollar will probably favor him a little bit more than Ventura does. Silver Dollar, slightly bigger track. We'll just have to kind of see how it all plays out. Those 3 riders have really separated themselves in the Twins class thus far this year. And a rider from California originally has 4 short track wins in his career, but is yet to podium in 2024, and that's Briar Bauman. They haven't had the best finishes with the KTM. Not bad. I mean, maybe by Briar standards, they're bad. Obviously, a rider with 2 championships like Briar and the number of wins that he's picked up in the Premier class, not having a podium through the first quarter of the season is not something that you would expect out of the number 3. So they've been going through some hurdles there. Briar obviously not having a great night down there in Texas. Pretty entertaining Instagram story that he shared where he caught some shots on the arm from something at that track and was pretty bruised up there after that event. But Breyer heading back to California and a couple of short tracks here. And while he didn't have the best start to Ventura in 2023, he was able to work his way up from 9th to 4th during the back half of that race, making strides. We'll see what Breyer's able to do on the KTM out there. Again, he qualified very well in Daytona. Night one, just a little bit of bad luck. I was in the hunt for a podium in Daytona, was in the hunt for a podium in Sonoy. The other two short tracks on the year. I think Breyer's right there on the cusp. I would be kind of surprised if he comes out of California without at least one podium. And I would even look for him. I'm not sure about Ventura necessarily, but when we go to Silver Dollar, again, nobody's going to really have much of a book on that place. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Breyer potentially at Silver Dollar. Could that be the breakthrough? Could that be the win for that team and sort of help them pick up some momentum as they head into the summer months? I'm very excited to see what that bike is able to do, especially when we get to the miles. Obviously, Breyer is the most recent mile winner with the series, and he won on a KTM at the end of 2023. So if Breyer can maybe get a short track win during this California stretch, and we know he runs really well at Lima as well, we'll just see what he can do as far as sort of get back into that title hunt. He's in quite a bit of a hole thus far earlier in the year. As we mentioned, Robinson, Mees, and Daniels have really stretched out from the rest of the pack. Returning to action, though, slamming Sammy Halbert. He's back. He's going to hop aboard the Harley-Davidson once again with the Dodge brothers down in Ventura and in Silver Dollar. And Sammy, he was 6th in Ventura last year. He's got 5 career short track wins, and he was so close in Daytona. He looked so fast both nights. Great starts, was able to get out front early, hold the lead. Obviously, we saw all the dramatics from the first night with is he black flag, is he not black flag? And then running second at the end of night 2. Sammy also unbeaten in mission challenges, so is he got to take home a smooth 10 Gs while he's in California and sweep those again? But I know Sammy wants to get another main event win. His last main event win came at a short track in New York when he won at Weed Sport in 2021. And Sammy would love, he's mentioned it, he wants to be the guy who wins on the XR750 and can hold that crown as the last rider to win on one of those. That very well could happen at Ventura or Silver Dollar. Again, Sammy getting great starts. If he can get another good start, qualify well, be up front. He's shown speed on that bike down in Daytona. Again, a track he's got more laps on, so having that experience definitely factors in. But Sammy's told us, if he watched his first episode of his new podcast that he's starting off, Sammy's mentioned he's going to send it. So we can keep an eye out for that and be excited for that with Halbert on that Harley-Davidson out there. Now, these next 4 riders, I'm not going to dive too deep into it, but these are guys who had top 10s at Ventura last year, and that's Johnny Lewis, Jared Vanderkoy, Colby Carlisle, and Bronson Bauman. Vanderkoy has shown great speed on short tracks at times. He and Johnny Lewis were up there in the dash at Ventura last year. Weren't able to quite get on the podium, but Johnny's lone premier class win came at a short track in Daytona. That Royal Enfield, I think, is a better shot to pick up a win. To me, it looks like it's got a better shot to pick up a win on a short track. And Johnny, another one who's going to send it out there. So we'll see how Johnny can stack up with that Royal Enfield. And again, Vanderkoy has shown speed on short tracks. Been a runner-up in Daytona before. He looked like he was going to be a contender at Ventura last year and faded a little bit. Colby Carlisle, Bronson Bauman were in the top 10 last year at Ventura. They've had struggles this year. So for Colby and Bronson, Ventura, maybe it's one of those right the ship moments. And if they can get up there and get a top 10, we definitely know they're capable riders of doing such. Bronson is a former winner on a short track. So looking forward to see how those two riders, Colby's team based out there in California. So we're looking forward to see how the G&G team in Carlisle and then Bronson with his KTM, how they stack up on those two short tracks and if they can get back into the top 10. The rookie battle this year has been one of my favorite things to follow thus far in the season. And Max Oela is coming off of his best career twins class finish, as is Declan Bender. Max coming off a 7th and Declan a 10th. And Trevor Bruder is going to be looking to bounce back after a 12th in Texas. Now, Max and Trevor finished in the top 5 in the singles class at Ventura in 2023. And Trevor showed signs of being really sporty and competitive down there in Daytona. Trevor was the highest finishing rookie down there in Daytona. Max is now kind of trimmed into his rookie of the year points lead. As we're going to look at the rookie points here. You got Trevor Bruder, 40 points, Max 7 bag, Declan 15 bag. Declan again coming off of his first top 10, looking really strong on that Indian on the half miles. I know this wasn't a track that Declan had a great showing at in the singles class last year, but now on the twin, Declan did make both main events straight up in Daytona, and he's shown definite signs of improvement on that Indian, so he'll be up there in the mix with them as well. I'm curious to see how these rookies are going to perform, and it's just cool to see new names in the twins class and seeing them progress before our eyes and get more comfortable on these bikes. Again, all three of them are on different machines. Bruder on the KTM, Max on the Harley, Declan on the Indian. I would say that Max is probably the one that I would think has the best chance to, after everything I've seen so far, I think Max probably has the best chance to crack a top 5 first. And I think it could potentially happen out of Ventura or Silver Dollar. But this field is just, these short tracks are so unpredictable. It's going to be tough to get up there in the mix with, the three that have kind of broken away. Also, we haven't even touched on Davis Fisher, and Davis is up there having a great start to his season. Even though he's not up in the contention for a win yet, Davis is a former winner with the series and has had great success throughout his career, and was a formidable rider on short tracks, especially on a 450. The twin, obviously, a whole other animal. So there's so much. For me, there's a lot more excitement when we go to tracks like these short tracks, because even though we tend to see sort of the cream rise to the top on every occasion, there's still a hint of unpredictability about it. And I'm very excited to see how these rookies stack up on the twin when we head to these rounds in California. Something I'm going to be keeping an eye on, and it'll be fun to follow this rookie battle throughout the rest of the year. Now we're going to drop down to the singles class, and the first two names that come to mind are the two most recent winners and the two who had a dogfight at Ventura last year, and that is, of course, our current points leader, Cody Kopp, and the newest winner in the class, Chase Sadoff. We're going to look at Cody's numbers first real quick. Cody, thus far on the year, again, he's got a pattern going. First, second. So, as we said, with Brandon Robinson going 3-1, 3-1, and looking like he could be in line for a win in Silver Dollar, does this 1-2-1-2 mean Cody's in line to get another win at Ventura? Cody has been so strong on short tracks on the KTM. In 2022, he picked up 2 wins and a 4th. 2023, 3 wins and a 5th. And thus far this year, 2 wins and a 2nd on the short track rounds aboard that KTM. Cody had a great battle with Chase last year. Those two almost wiping each other out. Very thrilling race to watch. These two guys get after it. And I think Cody's going to be wanting a little bit of redemption. He was definitely chasing down Chase in Texas before that race had to be called. But Chase had such speed at Texas, and I do think Chase probably had it covered there. But Cody's got to be wanting to get back on top of the box and get that 3rd win. He's again chasing history. 17 singles wins, trying to break Shane Texter Bauman's record there, and looking to get that 3rd championship. And even more so, not just for Chase to get the sort of the monkey off his back and get that 1st win, but for Sadoff to now move into 2nd in points. He's 17 behind Cody, and he's keeping the pressure on. While Cody's never finished worse than 2nd this year, Chase has never finished worse than 4th. And coming off of that battle last year at Ventura, Sadoff's going to be wanting that redemption. Short tracks, they haven't been Chase's best place, but he got a podium in his rookie year on one. He got 2 podiums in 2023, a 3rd and a 2nd. And again, thus far in 2024, 4th, and 3rd. So, now that Chase has got that 1st win under his belt, and we've talked about riders getting that 1st win, and finally, it just clicks and they can start rattling them off. We could be needing to be on the lookout for Sadoff to really kind of chip into Cody's lead and try to hunt him down. It's exciting to see the singles class have these guys really rising to the occasion as well. It does feel like at this point, similar to the twins class, that it's got to be sort of a 3-rider title hunt breakaway in that particular class as well. And the 3rd rider in that title fight, as I mentioned after Daytona, he proved me wrong. I was nervous about him on short tracks, but Tom Drain has definitely shown that he came to play this year. Barring that crash at the end of night 1 in Daytona, Tom would probably have been on the podium at every single short track of the season. He came back with a vengeance that 2nd night at Daytona and picked up that win, and came home 2nd in Sonoy. So Tom has done a great job of positioning himself in contention for wins early on. He's been a great qualifier, great starter this year. Tom's average position through these first 4 rounds after the first lap of the race is 2.5. So he's been in the top 3 on that first lap and been right up there in the hunt. That's critical for these short tracks. And if Tom can utilize some of the information that he gained at Daytona and is able to apply it in Ventura, whether it's starts or shifting or being able to navigate that track, Tom could definitely be a force to be reckoned with. He obviously wants to claw back some points on Cody. He's sitting 23 back right now. Tom finished 7th at Ventura last year, and he's got to be wanting to improve on that. I don't see Tom finishing 7th or worse at Ventura this year. Just he's been so good on starts, so consistent. He's really, really impressed me on short tracks, especially this year. Tom and Chase definitely need to be getting ahead of Cody as we go through these short tracks. If Cody's able to sweep these two, they're going to be in trouble throughout the rest of the season, I think. And I know we're still early, even after the 2 California rounds. We'll still have 10 races to go, and anything can happen for sure. But if Cody's able to pick up another win, and if he goes 1-2 again out there, in that case, probably going to be extending his points lead even more heading into the summer months. And you can't let him get too far away because, Cody's been able to wrap up these championships early both seasons. And I know he would probably like to do that once again this year as he's chasing history. One rider that's already got some laps in California is Dalton Gauthier. He raced at Lodi there on May 3rd. And Dalton is a rider who is definitely going to be looking for redemption as well. Coming off a DNF in Texas, Ventura wasn't that kind to him last year. He finished 10th. And Dalton's somebody who isn't normally out of the mix in a short track race. Dalton's got 5 wins on short tracks thus far this year, 2 podiums, a Al-Am Challenge win in Sonoy. While Dalton has kind of lost a little bit of ground in the points chase, we do know that he is out there in California. He's going to be able to contest these 2 rounds, and that is big for him and that program to be able to get back into the battle. And I think Dalton is somebody who will be up there with Tom and Chase and Cody. Again, those 4 really looked like they were going to be. It looked like Dalton was going to be that 4th member of the 4 horsemen of the singles class for this year before the DNF in Texas. Dalton's been super impressive. He's a former champion in this class, multi-time winner, so you can't count him out. And I do think a lot of these short tracks, and when we go to TTs, suit him a little bit more in that program a little bit more. I'm excited to see what Dalton's able to do when he gets back to Ventura and looks for redemption there, and then the brand new track out at Silver Dollar for everybody. He's got to be looking at potentially picking up another win. It's been since Arizona Super TT that Dalton has had a win in this singles class. And I know that's not sitting well with him. Dalton, ultra competitive, ultra talented. And he just has, as of at least through Daytona, just seemed like he was having a lot more fun with his program this year. And I hope that's still the case. And I hope they have a successful run out there and can keep this little team going throughout the season. They're one of those programs that I do think is probably hindered a little bit by this extra time out in California and having to find the funding and the budget to stay out there another week. But we'll see if he can make it lucrative and pick up a couple of checks while he's out there. Another rider who put in some laps out at Lodi was Trent Lowe. He came home second place at that event, and Trent has been a runner-up at a short track. He's podiumed 4 times at short track races with AFT. We mentioned the runner-up to Cody in Laconia. He survived a war zone in Daytona on night 1 and came home with 3rd place there. And Trent's looking for that I think, he just has to get that win again. Last year, once he got it, starting to be up there in the mix a lot more. And he's had sort of, a up and down season so far. Daytona night 1, podium, Daytona night 2, into the air fence. Even on night 1 in Daytona, he was down. Sonoy, they struggled. Texas, he was able to survive and get 4th. Last year at Ventura, Trent came home 6th. He'll be looking to improve on that. We know Trent can be really sporty on these short tracks, and looking to see what he can bring to the table. And then his teammate, Evan Renshaw, was able to get some practice laps in at Lodi. Evan still healing up from the ankle injury that he suffered in Texas, but luckily for Evan, it's just that's all it was. And in a brief conversation I had with him earlier in the week, he's in good spirits and just would like to see some of the swelling go down with his ankle, but he's going to be ready to roll when we head into Ventura and Chico. And I know Ventura was a track that he was very excited for on the schedule when I talked to him at Winter Throwdown this year, a track that he thought he could perform really well at. And he's going to be looking to get a little redemption from how Daytona went for him. He was excited to get out to the short track, and I know that wasn't the debut he was hoping for, even though, getting a top 10 finish in your first weekend with the series, like that's a big deal. And I don't think that can be understated, but I know what Evan's aspirations and goals and what he thinks he can accomplish are. And that kid is super talented. It's been really fun to watch his progression through the sport. And I still think that Evan could win a race this year. I'm even more motivated by the fact of how fast he was in Texas. Even though Chase Sadoff was able to get around him and start to check out, for him to show that much speed, it's been really impressive to see his progression and getting more comfortable with these Turner bikes and finding that speed. And Evan is super talented. So we'll see how he handles getting back from the ankle injury as we head out to California. A couple guys who've achieved their career best finishes as a top 5 this year. Jared Lowe coming off of a top 5 finish at Texas. Logan Eisenhard was picked up a top 5 down in Daytona. They'll be looking to carry that momentum into this next leg of the tour as we head to 2 more short tracks. Jared Lowe picked up an 8th place finish in Daytona on night 1. And Logan Eisenhard has always looked strong at Daytona, although he struggled a little bit at Ventura last year. But this has been a different Logan Eisenhard this year. He's been kind of up inside that top 10, looking a lot more consistent in his second year. Those 2 guys will be fun to watch. Also, it's good to see Evan Kelleher back in action in Texas after he was so fast on the opening night at Daytona before that injury. Good to see him back in action, another rookie on the tour. And with us being in California, we can't leave out the California guys. How about Terran Santero? Back-to-back big wins at Lodi last year, the night before the National. This year he picked up a win again over Trent Lowe at Lodi. Santero is someone who we've seen a lot of success with on these outlaw events, these short tracks. He was a runner-up on the last night of Winter Throwdown this year. Terran has just not quite been able to get up into that mix for a win or a podium yet, but it's going to be interesting to see how he can carry some of that confidence from Lodi over. Lodi, from everything I've seen, completely different from what you can expect at Ventura or Chico. But nonetheless, back in the home state, looking to put on for California. Also, Travis Penton, James Ott, Justin Anselmi coming off of his first main event, that putting that Unsettled Racing sponsored machine into the main event there at Texas. And then I saw on the entry list Michael Inderbitson for Silver Dollar. So it'll be fun if he can get up there and dice it up with the rest of the AFT guys. Again, having that sort of the Cali click is what it's called in sprint car racing. I don't know if that's what it's applied to in flat track racing, but it'll be fun to see them. Real quick, just want to give another shout out to Back on Track. If you are able to help donate and support that cause, please do so. We're still praying for Braden Fanders, Aiden Rousevans, Tay Little as they all recover from their injuries that they suffered in Texas, and having an organization like Back on Track out there to help not just those 3, but everybody who has been involved in a severe accident in the sport. It's so fortunate to have an organization like that involved with us. And if you're able to support that cause and donate, those funds go to helping these riders do exactly what it says: get back on the track, get recovered. Medical expenses and recovery are no joke, as a lot of us know, unfortunately. But we're so lucky to have Back on Track involved in the sport and helping injured riders get through their recovery, get back on the motorcycle, and get back to life as normal as possible. So thank you to everybody involved with that cause. This is an incredibly dangerous form of motorsports, and we're lucky to have you all supporting us, and to everybody that donates to that. Thank you so much. You all are heroes to each and every one of us. Thank you for that. So that's going to wrap things up here. We're excited. There's a lot of stuff that's been causing chaos in the sport. The whole finale stuff, we'll talk about that when something official hits the AFT news line, I guess. Who even knows with that anymore? But that is down the road, and what's right ahead of us are 2 exciting rounds of short track racing. I've got to be a huge fan of short track racing because of its unpredictability. I'm really looking forward to these 2 rounds, and it's just going to be good if the skies can stay clear and we can get 2 full nights of racing in. I'm very much looking forward to seeing our favorite riders and competitors mix it up out there on the West Coast. Get these rounds in the books and see how the points table starts to shake out as we head into our next lull before the summer months take over, and we see half miles and miles and TTs down the road. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. If you get a chance, please do support your local district amateur racing. Please support any of these bigger outlaw flat track events, support the AFT Nationals if they're in your area. Please bring a friend to the track. If you get to see flat track racing one time, I promise you'll be hooked. And if you're not, well, I can't really do anything for you. I don't know, check your pulse maybe. Maybe you're a zombie. I don't know. But thank you all for watching. Thank you for supporting this. Before I go, I need to give a huge shout out to Tank Slapping Podcast, Off the Groove with Scotty Taylor, Pipe Dreams Pod, Sammy Saavedra doing his Tuesday nights, Send It to Sammy stuff on Instagram Live. Those have been really fun. And it's I love how casual it is. And it really feels like just it's such a cool thing that Sammy's doing. And Sammy is an unsung hero of the sport. The amount of stuff that Sammy Saavedra does for flat track racing is mind-boggling. I don't know where he finds time to sleep, or if he even does sleep. I'm not entirely sure that he does. That man goes 24/7. It feels like for everybody, and one of the nicest individuals that I've ever met in my life. So, Sammy Saavedra, thank you to you so much for what you do and for bringing me Send It to Sammy things back. They're so much fun to watch. Another Sammy Halbert, great YouTube channel. Sammy's starting his podcast as well, and looking to see how that's going to navigate and what he wants to do with that moving forward. But Sammy's been putting out great content as well on his YouTube channel. So y'all just support anybody that's putting out flat track content. Encourage each other to create more and to try to create a buzz. And let's get as many people talking about this as we can and try to do it in as much of a positive way as possible. Obviously, not everything's going to be great. We got to be real with ourselves. But it's such an exciting form of racing. It's the best form of racing in the world. And we have immense talent throughout the pits currently and coming up through the amateur ranks. I'm hoping to have an interview with an amateur rider out next week. We're going to be stepping away a little bit as I have some travel stuff going on and some broadcast commitments with the Sprint Car Series. So probably the next, again, we're going to hope to get that interview out. And then after that, we'll once things settle down a little bit, we'll talk about how things shook up out there in California with the short track racing and get set up for the summer months. So thank you all again. I think I'm going to wrap it for real this time. And yeah, it's a cut. Take care, y'all.